Dear passengers, welcome to your flight with Zero G. Today's destination, the truth. Please stay curious and enjoy the ride.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Data Waypoints, Synergy's very own podcast, where we talk about all the interesting stuff that we're doing here at Synergy, especially deep dives on our data and AI solutions. Today, we will have slightly different episode, I'd say, especially content-wise. Before I elaborate on that a little bit deeper, I want to give you a little hello to our managing director, our guest of today. Hello, Manuel.
Hello, Francine. Thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. Thanks that you took the time to actually be my guest instead of being the moderator.
Very welcome. I was looking for a round of applause, but we can skip that for next time.
Here we go. Okay. Malo, and thanks for joining.
Yes.
CRG just turned 10, as since we basically all celebrated last week. Had a very nice party together, and over the decade, I'd say, or over the last 10 years, CRG definitely developed into a more mature company, solution-wise, tech-wise. We grew a lot people-wise, and we also had quite a change when it comes to the organizational setup, I'd say. Before we start talking about the actual new setup that we are planning on implementing at CRG, maybe can you give us a little wrap-up on where we're coming from? So CRG actually was a line chart organization, as I heard back in the past. Then we moved into a teal organization and basically ended up at holacracy and a circle setup. So if you could give us like a quick wrap up on each of those different stages, why we're at a certain stage, the according organizational setup maybe the best fit, and where do you see the challenges when it comes to the according setups? I'm also helping you all the way and can actually repeat my question.
You gave all the answers.
I know,
but I'm happy to eliminate a little bit more on their context. So when I joined Zero G was 2 years old, so it's around about 8 years, and the previous managing directors really got me excited about joining Zero G, not just because of the content, so the data science, working in aviation, but also on the revolutionary way that they wanted to run the organization itself. So their philosophy was, if we are hiring bright and smart people that want to innovate and transform the world of aviation through data science, then management should not get in their way in saying, this is how we're going to run, and create a solution, or this is when you're allowed to take your vacation days. We believe that smart people should be empowered to make decisions on their own, like any adult can outside of work as well. And that was a little bit of philosophy, and that caught my interest, because a lot of other corporations, other organizations are definitely a lot more traditionally organized. So very top down, like the classical line chart pyramid. When I joined Zero G, this was still definitely the case, even though the vision of the organization was to move beyond that. I had my own line manager. In this case, that was Peter, shared with Gerhard. And we did impact plans, reviewed where they want to go, where they not want to go. But ultimately, that left limits on entrepreneurialism, creativity, and autonomy. So when we transitioned from a line chart organization towards a teal organization, that was a shift from being organized according to lines, on the classical pyramid, towards we're a collective pursuing a shared goal. And as I'm a millennial, born in the 1990s, obviously I find purpose-driven work extremely important. And this was the idea behind teal. So instead of having a manager that orchestrates your work and directs your direction, it's a purpose that directs you into a certain direction. And the purpose, as we created it back then, was called to unlock the intrinsic power of data and find new ways to improve aviation. And the goal was of us as an organization to collectively find ways that we can deliver on that purpose. That works fantastically, as long as you're a company of 25 to 30, 45 people. But we also noticed pains there. As you become a larger organization, it's not that you're intuitively in touch with everything that's happening at the company at the same time. Questions pop up on what to prioritize. Do we go to this conference or that conference? Do we invest there or here? Do we want to have a project X or a project C? And so we needed like an orchestration around accountabilities and responsibilities without losing autonomy for individuals. And so then we transitioned from teal, evolved into a holacratic organization. So from a philosophy around teal, purpose-driven work, towards holacracy, a operating model on how the decisions are made.
Mhm.
So you start with the perspective of the managing director, and then the managing director role creates other roles that can take on responsibilities. This could be sales to a sales role, marketing to a marketing role, finance responsibilities to a finance role. And they grow on their own again, either staying into a role or becoming a circle where, again, individual work, individual people align to a role that orchestrate work together. And then also here, we've noticed a very big challenge moving forward,
Mhm.
mostly around proactive versus reactive work. So how can we set a target and move towards that target in a holacratic organization? We've noticed a lot of feedback from the team around the feeling that the decisions are made in the shadow hierarchy, um, which is critical. There's a lot of need for more direction on how to grow your career. And so there was a little bit the starting point to see how can we take the best parts of Teal and holacracy into a new organizational model that balances out direction with autonomy.
Mhm. Well, it sounds actually quite thought through, I would say. And you were talking about the challenges that you faced in the past over time. Can you maybe elaborate a little on how you really decided that it's time to basically move on? So, how did you collect the data? You know, it's all about data-driven decision making. So, you said that the team basically faced some challenges career-wise. Do you maybe have like an exact example? So, what was the actual challenge?
Yeah.
And also, maybe how does the new setup meet those challenges? And what do you hope for with this new setup compared
Yeah.
to the old one?
We can talk a little bit about a new target operating model as we're currently designing that and how the process and how we got there.
Mhm.
But the trigger for the decision to move into a new collaboration model basically came from the team itself.
Mhm.
So a lot of team members continuously complained indeed about the feeling that certain decisions were unclear on who those decisions was making.
Mhm.
There was a desire for more guidance on how to grow your career. And those are two important data points. The third data point that we saw continuously in our people survey was the feeling that there was a lot of additional work on top of core work that was duplicated
Mhm.
across your organization. So multiple efforts and action groups worked on project management standards or on engineering standards. And that was a waste of time and effort and people's personal time, which is something that we always want to avoid. So that's the feedback that we got from the team. We also saw feedback from the market.
Mhm.
So a challenge to quickly deliver on opportunities that we saw together with airline customers. It was hard to start a new initiative. It was hard to quickly scope projects. And it was hard to reach the targets that we've set ourselves in terms of where we wanted to be in the future. And those were the data points that we took together and said, well, whatever is working in the holacracy organization, we need to make some organizational decisions to move towards a new organizational model.
Mhm.
We don't do that out of the blue. Yeah. So what we find important at Zero G is that we take a human-centric approach towards building data and AI solutions. And we do the same for the organization, because how can you say that human-centric data and AI solutions are important if you don't run a human-centric organization? So what we've done was we took this as a starting point. We interviewed, I think, 15 different people across your organization to better understand what their challenges are with your organizational model in terms of their career growth, in terms of delivering on project scope, and in terms of driving our company forward. And we took that as core challenges to improve the organization. And the agency that we work with, 1789, created a first target operating model to integrate all of these ideas. And then again, we have 15 different people to provide feedback to the target operating model. So, and this is the part of the integrated design. Yeah. So you don't just design something, but you have different people, different stakeholders, different needs, different demands across a design process.
Mhm.
Ultimately, after 3 months of data collection, first iteration, second iteration, feedback, third iteration, we aligned on a target operating model.
Mhm.
And the idea was to orchestrate everything around one elementary thing. And one elementary thing is our customer journey. So how can we make sure that we're actually adding value for our customers, and how does each activity within the organization add value towards our customers. Because ultimately our belief is if we're if we're able to have happy customers, we will have happy talents working at Zero G, and that becomes a sort of feedback loop, a continuum, if you will. Happy customers leads to happy people deliver better projects lead to happy customers lead to better projects lead to happy people, and so on. And so that's the reason why we took as the heart of the organization the entire customer journey. So from attracting new customers all the way to scaling applications that we've built together with them. But this work needs to be orchestrated, and it used to be circles that did random activities across the organization. A lot of volunteering. Who wants to do this? Who wants to do that? Get an action group together and deliver on that. That will be in the new organizational model not longer the case. So we'll have different hubs, no longer circles, but hubs with a clear orchestrating role on how work gets done. It's important to mention that here at Zero G, we highly appreciate people's individual autonomy. So we manage the work, not the people. And so the work needs to be orchestrated. And for it starts with the marketing hub, goes to the sales hub, then goes to the value stream delivery hub, then the infrastructure hub, also called tech hub, finance hub, people hub. These are the main hubs orchestrating the work around the customer journey. And then in the core, we'll have our capabilities, our technical skills that enable the value that we create for our customers. Meaning that the majority of the activities of the capability centers, data engineers, data scientists, business data analysts, and transformation consultants happens in the value stream hub, because that's where the majority of our projects are. But we also need expertise when we're doing interviews, and we also need their expertise when we're doing marketing activities. So we also need their expertise when we're talking to customers. So ultimately, Zero G will remain a expert-based, expert-led organization, but this expertise is orchestrated along the customer value journey. And this is the beating heart of the organization. And this is what we now call a hub and spoke model. So the hubs is where we orchestrate the work. The spokes are the capability centers, and we allocate based on customer demand, based on customer needs, where the right skills at the right time for the right customer within the right scope get to create value for our customers. And as I said, this is a continuum. What makes the customer happy will lead to better projects, making our people happy, leading to better projects, making our customers happy. That's the idea. It sounds a little bit abstract, but it actually is kind of logical if you see the new design.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds quite human-centric. So it sounds like that we basically now try to really put the customer in the center of attention, the center of whatever we do. I like the term of the beating heart. So the value chain is now basically beating heart, and everything else kind of like builds up around it. But you're right, it might be a little bit theoretical. So maybe we can really, or you can give us an example on, just imagine I'm a core data scientist here at Zero G. And I was used to actually work in a marketing circle and the data science circle. And now we are moving to this hub and spoke organizational setup. Can you maybe give us like a quick example on how like a career path now changes compared to the holacracy setup, and what might be the benefit now that we basically changed the setup, and how would like a career path of this core data scientist, for example, look like?
So as Zero G, I think career growth is quite important, because we want to have great technical experts. And if we don't have great technical experts, there is no reason why our customers would buy Zero G. So growing technical careers is a core capability of what we find important in the organization. That is one element. The other element that I want to highlight is that people want to do meaningful work. If your work has no meaning, it leads to depression and a waste of life. And that's not what you want to do. You want to do meaningful work. And so through the core customer value journey, we're making sure that each and every activity actually has a meaning on what we're doing. So instead of me imagine I'm a core data scientist working at Zero G, it will not be just doing something on the project or just doing something for the marketing circle, because it felt random. It's detached from meaning. It's work activities, tickets that need to be processed, tickets that need to be delivered. Now, having the beating heart of the organization around the customer journey and how we create value for our customers, each activity for a core data scientist has actual meaning. Yeah. So this is what you do on the project, and this is how you add value at the project. And the same is true for the marketing hub, not the marketing show, but the marketing hub, where instead of a random marketing activity, understand what your work adds for value towards both the company as well as our customers. And the more people are able to add value along the customer journey, the better your career will be. And I think it's unique at Zero G that we offer actually people are a lot of flexibility and resources to build this up. So if you're a Zero G data scientist or data engineer, instead of just waiting until maybe at some point in time there will be an opportunity to grow something or to apply somewhere, you'll have a lot of opportunities to help shape the way that we do customer acquisition, the way that we scope project deliverables, the way that we scale project deliverables beyond the project that we're working on. And we invest actually quite a little bit of time and effort and energy into that. And that unique skill is now there. So the more you can grow your career if you're able to add more value towards our customers. And that is ultimately what our customers are also willing to pay.
Sounds very beneficial for both
That's
customer talent. That's the
the
goal.
idea.
Very smart. I like it. Yeah, I can actually say from a marketing perspective, I'm also hoping for more guidance and alignment because what you basically said, those random activities, there's a lot going on already, are now streamlined and basically are somehow aligned to like a common understanding of where we actually want to head to. So I hope for the best. And I actually think it will be very beneficial for both sides. Speaking of beneficial, so we had the talent side. Can you maybe now also give a little bit more input or insights on will there be something changing for the customer? I mean, of course, you said best way scenario. All the activations that we do are basically contributing to the customer benefit or the best customer value in general. But how is it? How will it look like in the future working with Zero G? So I'm a customer. I'm Fancy Airlines. I want to work with Zero G.
Fancy airline.
Fancy Airlines. I want to work with Zero G. So maybe you can give me like a quick understanding of how that would look like, and is there anything different from the way we worked with customers before?
I think what we did very well at Zero G was equipping our people to do the best work. So that will not change. Our customers can expect great data engineering, data science, business data analytics, insight generation, and transformation work from our team because that's what we're very good at. So the core is delivery, and we've been doing that amazingly for the last 10 years. What will change, and this is the feedback that I've heard from a lot of airlines that we work with, as well as airlines that we are want to work with in the future, is that a lot of things will be more methodologized. So instead of like raw, pure talent that you can hire, the goal is to have it more orchestrated around methods and clear goals. And this is beneficial for both parties because ultimately what we're trying to solve with our airline customers is usually never solved before. So airlines need to trust us that we can do a great job. And we need to be empowering our people to have the tools they need to solve things that were not solved before. And so it's a paradox. And how do we bring those two things together? Through orchestration. So whether clear templates, methods, and examples on how we are extracting business challenges from business users before we start a project. Or how do we move from, or how do we do a proof of value before we start an actual larger project worth multi-million euros? Because that paradox of trying to understand what a customer needs as well as trying to deliver on customer expectations, that needs to be solved and streamlined. And that's where we start from the marketing perspective towards these are the topics, make our topics, complex topics, digestible towards a larger audience, creating a dream of how a future could look like, making sure that we're the sales hub that is very clear on how we create a value and scope projects in an attractive way with clear metrics of success from the very beginning so that our customers know exactly if I buy Zero G, this is how they will measure their own success on the project. The delivery hub responsible for making sure that we're delivering against the promises that we've made, the dream that we've sold to our customers, that the dream also gets delivered all the way through infrastructure, finance, and people. And that's the hopefully tangible effect that we will have with the new organizational model. So it's not just pure raw talent that airline customers can buy from us, run data science, and then build amazing data science solutions, but have a clearer guidance on how data and AI can impact them, including clarity on feedback, financial performance, as well as efficiency gains.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool, actually. Maybe one last question, because we were talking a lot about dreams.
Yeah.
So apparently this also sounds like a dream setup or organizational setup for Zero G. So if you could define, like in half a year from now, how would success look like? So when would you say, well, this movement from holacracy or from a circle setup to like the hub and spoke setup now actually was a success? Do you measure that? Since again, we're a data-driven company, I hope people do so. So can you give us like a quick
Sounds like a rhetorical question. Yes.
making sure? Yes.
Yes.
So how would you measure the success? And yeah, when would you say, well, yeah, basically that was the right decision?
So how we will measure success is the win ratio. So how many more customers will prefer Zero G because they see the clear value proposition for us compared to competitors. So that is one metric of success on how we're measuring success within this transition towards a new organizational model. Another another metrics of success is the people feedback. So that we increase people satisfaction with career development as well as the people satisfaction with their workload, which are two major things working here at Zero G that are important to improve. And those are the three metrics of success that we're aiming for. I think any transition project that doesn't have a clear goal set is not really a transition project, just something cool to do on PowerPoint. And this is how I will measure success of your organization. Again, this is not something that we do or I do as a managing director perspective, but it's a integrated design process. It's also an integrated implementation process. So it's a success that we have to keep ourselves all accountable for and drive forward together. And I think at Zero G, we have a unique company culture that starts to shine even a little bit more bright thanks to the new organizational setup that equips people to deliver on the promises that we've made each other and deliver on the dream.
That was very poetic. I think I couldn't have like ended this episode in a better way. So thank you.
Some say poetic, others say cheesy. Either
You
or.
name it, either or.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for actually taking us along on the journey with Zero G through the last 10 years of organizational setup. If I can speak for myself, I'm actually very excited for the new setup. I'm also very looking forward to it and also hyped to see if your dream will come true.
It's a shared dream, I hope,
It's a
and I'm
shared
looking
dream.
to it as well.
There we go. Okay, well then thank you, Manuel.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thanks to the audience. Looking forward to the next super interesting episode of Zero G's Data Waypoint. And with that, I say have an amazing rest of the day and catch up soon.
See you then.
Bye.
Dear passengers, thanks for choosing Zero G. We hope you had a great and informative flight. See you next time.